The rabbit's back legs are like coiled springs. They power the leaps that can carry the rabbit 10 times its body length. That's a jump of nearly 6 meters. Compare that to the distance Olympic athletes can jump. If you could leap like a rabbit, you'd jump twice as far as any human in history, more than 18 meters. The locust's huge hind legs can kick them over 1 meter, or 20 times their body length. Imagine if a basketball player could jump like a locust. How'd you like to be able to jump 90 meters for the ultimate slam dunk? A sprinting kangaroo would clean up at the Olympics. It travels twice the speed of the world's fastest sprinters. That means it would win the Olympic 100-meter sprint in a time of 4 seconds. And then over in the long jump pit, every 9-meter bounce would win an Olympic gold medal. But the kangaroo rat takes hopping to new extremes because a single bound can carry it over 4 meters. That's an incredible 45 times its body length. Imagine if a tall football player could jump that far. It's hard to defend against a player that could leap from end zone to end zone. The klipspringer may be tiny, but it can leap 15 times its own height. That's more than 7 meters. The best Olympic high jumpers can't clear even twice their height. But if they could jump like a klipspringer, they could leap from the shoulder of the Statue of Liberty and soar more than 20 meters right over the torch. The jumping spider can really jump. Those 8 legs can push it almost 2 meters. That's 100 times its body length. A human athlete who could jump 100 times his body length might as well be flying. It would be like leaping clear over 2 jumbo jets, nearly 150 meters. So the scientists took a closer look at the frog's legs. They discovered a trigger mechanism that allows the muscles to stretch the tendons, store the energy, and release it in that explosive leap. It's a frog with extra webbing between its toes. So when it leaps out of a tree, it opens 4 little parachutes. These flying frogs can glide more than 15 meters between trees. Imagine being able to jump 150 times your body length. You'd be able to leap clear over the Titanic, a distance of nearly 300 meters. Then you really would be king of the world. A leap of 30 centimeters may be one small jump for a bug, but it's one giant leap for mankind. We're talking a leap that's 220 times your body length. With the superpowers of a flea, we'd be able to clear the Brooklyn Bridge. That's nearly 400 meters. But a flea can also jump more than 150 times its own height. That's like jumping over not 1, but 2 Statues of Liberty, more than 200 meters. Strange things have been found in the stomachs of tiger sharks. Things like tom-tom drums, car license plates, 9 shoes, deer antlers, a coil of copper wire, lumps of coal, a can of salmon, and even bits from a suit of armor. 20% of your body weight is an awful lot of hamburgers. For an average-sized person, it would be like gulping down 108 hamburgers at a sitting. Would you like fries with that? Now that's extremely fast food. That would be like our average human sitting down and eating 216 hamburgers in half an hour. Imagine if Count Dracula had to drink like a real vampire. He'd have to drink his own weight in blood every day. That's over 70 liters, nearly a bathtub full of blood. So, next time you're at the movies, keep your eye on Dracula. See if you can spot how he gets rid of all that excess fluid from his liquid lunch. Imagine what it's like to run a marathon. You have to lift your feet about 35,000 times. And all this extreme effort burns about 2,500 calories. But that's nothing compared to the hummingbird. In the 2 hours it would take us to run a marathon, they'd burn an amazing 14,000 calories. It's hard to comprehend just how big a blue whale is. It would take up all the economy seats in a jumbo jet. Its mouth is so big that 50 people could stand on a blue whale's tongue. But the biggest whale of them all still only eats some of the smallest creatures in the sea. It's just that the blue whale has an incredible appetite. In a single day, a blue whale can eat nearly 40 million krill. That's over 1 million calories a day, which is an awful lot of hamburgers. 2,000 burgers a day is a big serving of junk food. Your baby would eat 1,000 times its own weight in only 2 months. That would be like eating the equivalent weight of 3 blue whales, some 300 tons of baby food. And all that eating would make your baby grow 80,000 times bigger. In 8 weeks, your baby would weigh more than the Statue of Liberty. It may take a miracle for a human to walk on water, but the basilisk relies on the laws of physics. For a start, the basilisk doesn't walk. It sprints at over 11 kilometers per hour. And so long as the basilisk moves fast enough, it can run over the surface of the water as if it were solid ground. Anyone who slapped their hand on water knows how hard it can be. If we wanted to copy the basilisk, we'd have to grow feet the size of open umbrellas and take 20 steps a second. If the hare entered the Olympics, they'd be chasing human sprinters that could run at 35 kilometers per hour. But that's no problem for the hare. The hare can hit a top speed of more than 70 kilometers per hour, which would mean it would win the Olympic 100 meters in a time of just 5 seconds, and how long your stride is. The hare carries much less body weight than either a horse or a human, extremely flexible. This means it can maximize its stride length by stretching out those powerful back legs and then bringing them up in front of its chin. That's how the sprinting hare covers the ground so much faster than we do. Each hop can cover almost twice the distance down the track. For the cowboys of the Wild West, extreme speed was the difference between life and death. It only takes 0.2 of a second for the fastest gunslingers to draw and shoot. But the cowboys have competition. When scientists took a closer look at the snapping shrimp's incredible claw, they discovered the snapping noise wasn't caused by the pincers slamming together. When the shrimp closes its claw, it shoots out a jet of water that moves so fast, it creates an air bubble in the sea. When this cavitation bubble implodes, it creates a massive shock wave and a loud bang. It's time for a showdown at the OK Coral. The snapping shrimp is almost 100 times faster than the best gunslinger in town. At 80 kilometers per hour, they're more than twice the speed of our fastest Olympic sprinters. We'd need mechanical assistance just to keep up. An ostrich runs as fast as an Olympic sprint cyclist. If you put a tiger beetle on a racetrack, it would sprint at the same speed as a human out for a brisk walk. Now, 8 kilometers per hour doesn't sound very extreme, but imagine if it was the same size as a human. It would take only half a second to win the 100-meter sprint. To catch a beetle moving at over 480 kilometers per hour, we'd need a drag racer. Imagine what it must be like to be a tiger beetle. When you sit still, you can see perfectly. But then you take off, and you have to search your surroundings again. Locked onto your target, you take off, and your eyes just can't cope. You go blind until you stop, search, and start again. This is an extremely unusual way of hunting. But when you move as fast as the tiger beetle, you have to find some extreme solutions. No wonder this is the #1 sprinter in our countdown. After all, when it comes to speed, the Tiger Beetle... Life would be so much easier. Because if we were like the Tasmanian devil, we'd have a newborn baby the size of a ping pong ball. How'd you like to deliver a baby that weighed 1/10 of an ounce? Imagine what it would be like to be a helpless baby, thrown into a race for survival against all your brothers and sisters. That's because only the first 4 babies to get to the milk will survive. The Tasmanian devil is number 10 in the countdown because it's not easy for a helpless infant to find its way to the booby prize of life. How'd you like to be a pregnant kiwi? Imagine giving birth to a baby that weighed 20% of your body weight. If we gave birth like a kiwi, we'd have a newborn baby that weighed in at a massive 30 pounds. So spare a thought for the mother of a 20... The average couple can only give birth to 1 baby a year. If we could breed at the rate of a rabbit, we'd have 6 babies every month. And it would only take 6 months before those babies can get pregnant too. If we bred like rabbits, in only a year we could end up with an extended family of 414 babies. The blue whale is twice the size of a right whale, and its calf is the biggest baby on the planet. It's a hefty 3 tons at birth, but it grows fast. It gets 9 times bigger in only 1 year. Imagine if our babies grew like a blue whale. On their first birthday, they'd weigh 60 pounds. That's the size of an average 10-year-old. One female cabbage aphid can have up to 41 offspring in her lifetime. If all her offspring survived, by the end of the summer, there would be a population of nearly a billion aphids. That would leave America 14 feet deep in aphids. If we were termites, our moms would be over 60 feet tall. She'd be giving birth so quickly that in only 2 days, we'd have enough babies to fill Yankee Stadium. A termite mom could give birth every 15 seconds and have up to 30,000 babies a day. If you could give birth like a tapeworm, your children would fill the city of New York in 2 weeks. You'd be giving birth to 1 million babies a day. And if you're infected with a tapeworm, you probably do. Tapeworms are extreme breeders because they have more sexual organs than any other animal. Their body is a long chain of more than 2,000 identical segments. And each segment is almost entirely devoted to producing eggs. A good liar will never turn red. But there are subtle ways of seeing past even the best poker face. If you're looking for a human cheat, watch out for symptoms of anxiety, like an increased heart rate, sweating, fidgeting, or nervous touches to the face. But scientific research shows the greatest giveaway may be in your voice. Anxiety causes muscle tension and reduces blood flow to the vocal cords. This produces a distinctive pattern of sound waves that can give away even the best cheats. If you were like a possum, you'd have no trouble winning the Academy Award for Best Performance as a Dead Person. That's because possums don't play dead at all. If you were a possum and you were in a dangerous situation, you'd go into a voluntary coma. First of all, you'd drool a little saliva and even excrete a greenish, foul-smelling mucus. But the possum's not just pretending to be dead. It really does go into a catatonic state. So if you were a possum, it would look as if you'd been frightened into cardiac arrest. You'd feel no pain, no matter how much you were poked or prodded. One theory is that most predators like fresh meat. So if you're already dead, maybe you're rotten and full of nasty diseases. So predators leave you to die another day. Imagine if your family was duped by the most extreme cheat on the planet. How'd you like it if your baby was swapped for an infant that grows much, much bigger? If you were conned by the #1 cheat in the countdown, you'd be left raising a baby that grows 10 times bigger than you are. For that's exactly what happens if you're conned. Imagine if you were dropped into a desert. There's no water, no shade, and the temperature's 50 degrees. You start sweating at an alarming rate. Sweating drains your body fluids. Lose more than 12% of your body weight, and you're in big trouble. With nothing to drink, in less than 36 hours, you'd be dead. But imagine if we had the super survival skills of the camel. We'd be able to endure the extreme heat much longer than an ordinary human. That's because not only is the camel better at conserving water, but it can lose more than 25% of its body weight and still survive. It can go without a drink for an incredible 8 days. But when it finally gets to water, it's really thirsty. A camel can drink 80 liters in 10 minutes. If you were a rat, you'd be able to squeeze into some very small spaces. Thanks to the flexible bones in your skull, you'd be able to squeeze through any hole that's just slightly bigger than the width of your head. And you'd never get stuck in a pipe because the jaws of the rat are 120 times stronger than ours. That means you could easily gnaw a hole in a lead pipe, or a garbage can, or even cinder blocks. And if there isn't a handy toilet to escape down, don't panic, because rats are so much smaller and lighter than humans, they have no trouble falling great distances. With the superpowers of a rat, you could survive a fall from a 5-story building. Imagine if you were dropped onto a mountain 3,000 meters above sea level. In the rarefied atmosphere, you'd soon be feeling sick and tired because the organs of your body need oxygen to work properly. And oxygen is carried by red blood cells. In a teaspoon of blood, there are about 19 billion of them, which sounds like a lot. But in thin air, it's not enough. A human with guanaco blood would have 4 times as many red blood cells, and each blood cell would live twice as long. With so many more cells to collect oxygen from the thin air, the guanaco is much better suited to the high life than we are. Imagine if you were as tough as a tube worm. You'd spend your life sitting in a bath of vinegar, just like the acid waters of the black smoker. And you'd be breathing hydrogen sulfide, a gas as deadly as cyanide. Your feet would be in water just above freezing, but your head would be cooking in wafts of boiling water coming from the vent. But the most deadly of all is the extreme pressure of all that water above you. It's like trying to breathe with a blue whale on your chest, pushing down at more than 200 kilos per square centimeter. The water bear is the most extreme survivor on the planet because when conditions get tough, this animal effectively curls up and dies. It loses 99% of the water in its body and enters a state of suspended animation. Let's say a water bear starts getting too cold. It'll shrink down, retract all its legs, and shut down all systems until conditions improve. Once they're in this state, they're practically indestructible. Imagine if you were as tough as a water bear. If things started getting too cold, all you have to do is curl up and lose virtually all the water in your body. You'd enter a state of suspended animation. Freezing solid would be no problem to a human water bear. Water bears can survive temperatures as low as -200 degrees Celsius. Extreme heat would be no trouble either. Water bears have survived a scorching 150 degrees. Imagine if a human was exposed to radioactive material. You could be 200 kilometers downwind from a nuclear blast and still get a lethal dose of fallout. That's about 500 rontgens, the units used to measure radiation. The indestructible water bear has been shown to survive 1,000 times that amount. And life in the desert would be no trouble for a water bear. With nothing to drink, most humans would last less than 2 days. But even camels are no match for one incredible water bear. A long time ago, a water bear was trapped in a museum specimen of dried moss. It came back to life when scientists added water to the moss 120 years later. The water bear's toughness is literally out of this world because it could even survive the vacuum of space. After all, when it comes to survival, the water bear really is. But the beetle has a problem. How do you make sure the bomb doesn't blow your bottom off? The secret lies in keeping the two explosive ingredients well separated. In one gland, it stores hydrogen peroxide, a potent chemical we use as rocket fuel. It squirts a little into a reaction chamber and then adds enzymes. The result is explosive. The beetle can fire this cannon 700 times a second. And by strange coincidence, this kind of explosion was found in a very different kind of bug. This is a doodlebug, the nickname of the V-1 rocket manufactured by Germany in World War II. Today, only a special breed of warrior charges head first into the opposition. football players can collide at 25 kilometers per hour. The trouble is that in the collision, the brain keeps moving when the skull stops. When the brain crashes into the skull, we get concussed because the impact damages the delicate nerve tissue. That's why scientists have found that when men are put in a confrontational situation, testosterone is released from the gonads and floods the bloodstream. Some studies have shown that the person with higher levels of testosterone will tend to be more aggressive and dominate the situation. There may also be a link between our testosterone levels and the professions we choose. Actors have higher levels of testosterone than ministers. Working women have higher levels of testosterone than women who stay at home. And delinquents have higher levels of testosterone than college students. In addition to the ordinary worker ants, some colonies create a caste of professional fighters. This is a soldier ant. Those massive jaws are great for fighting, but not much else. It can't even feed itself and relies on other ants to bring it food to keep it fighting fit. But these soldiers are also equipped with chemical weapons. A sting in the tail of the ant can inject a deadly poison. Individually, each soldier is armed to the teeth. But what makes the ant army so deadly is the sheer weight of numbers. For when ants fight, it really is the attack of the clones. Just like human wars, the worst defeats occur when one side has miscalculated the strength of their opposition. Tactical ant warfare has even attracted interest from human defense analysts. They're taking a close look at ants to try and sharpen their own techniques at estimating the strength of the enemy. For the ants that get it wrong, the results are devastating. Their colony can be completely overwhelmed. This ant has a huge gland inside its abdomen. In extreme combat, it will rupture its own body wall, causing the gland to explode. The ants are like walking grenades, spraying sticky toxic material all over the enemy. These extreme fighters make the ultimate sacrifice to protect their colony. That's why, when it comes to fighting, the ant really is.
But a web of spider silk is no ordinary fishing net. That's because you need a very special building material to capture high-speed insects. To stop bugs from bouncing off, spiders cover their web with glue. So why doesn't the spider get caught in its own web? Take a close look at the silk strands, and you'll see distinct blobs of glue. By picking its way between the blobs, the spider can move freely across the web. Small spiders can build themselves a parachute. A single thread of silk is light enough to be picked up by the wind, and strong enough to carry the spiderling. So it's up, up, and away. Although sometimes cruising at 9,000 meters can be dangerous. Combine all the tunnels of all the dogs living under the prairie, and you end up with an underground metropolis. Especially when you consider how many dogs once used to build their homes in America. One prairie dog town in Texas was estimated to have a population of 400 million dogs. The bees only produce tiny flakes of wax, no bigger than a pinhead. It takes 500,000 flakes to make 0.5 kilo of beeswax. And every one of those flakes has to be carefully molded into the walls of the hexagonal cells. All 100,000 of them. It's easy to be impressed by the Empire State Building and its 102 floors. But imagine if the #1 animal in the countdown was the same size as a human. Scaled up to our size, they'd make a skyscraper 4 times the size of the Empire State Building. But the building would be empty because these builders live in the basement. All 5 million of them. It took only 30 years to build the Great Pyramid, yet it remained the tallest building on Earth until 1889. It's hard to imagine that a building that towers over the Statue of Liberty could be made from blocks of solid stone. The blocks weigh about 2 tons, and there are more than 2.5 million in the pyramid. With our modern building techniques, that's enough stone to make more than 40 Empire State Buildings. So it's no wonder that when it comes to building, termites really are the most extreme.
Called sericidin, it paralyzes nerves, making it potentially useful to treat migraines, neuromuscular diseases, and even wrinkles. The real brain eater is a parasite that's lodged in the ant's head. The ant is still breathing, but paralyzed. Somehow, the parasite can make the ant climb to the tip of a leaf and clamp its jaws onto the blade of grass. In cool temperatures, the paralyzed ant can remain hanging onto the grass stem for up to 8 weeks. But this is just the beginning of one of the most complicated life cycles on the planet. Ants don't usually cling to the tips of grass, because these are the bits that get eaten by mammals like rabbits. This is bad for the ant, but it's exactly what the parasite wants, because when it gets eaten, it breaks out of the digestive system and into the liver. Here it grows into its adult form, a parasitic flatworm called a liver fluke that feeds on blood. But now it has to get back to the ant. So the mature liver fluke produces thousands of eggs every day. Incredibly, these eggs only hatch if they're eaten by a snail. Phase 2 begins when the egg hatches and the parasite moves into the snail's breathing cavity. It's so irritating that the snail covers the parasite in slime. Eventually, there's so much mucus that the snail has to cough up the slime ball. And it just so happens that snail snot is one of the favorite foods of the ant. It's time for phase 3, where the parasite changes again and moves into the head, where it takes control and turns the insect into bunny chow. Having parasitic larvae lodged in your brain is an equally effective way of altering behavior, especially if you're an ant. These parasites can create zombies just as easily as the surgeon's knife. If we were like the animal at #1 in the countdown, we really would be Mr. Invincible. we'd be able to survive temperatures lower than minus 230 degrees Celsius and as high as 150 degrees. We could withstand 1,000 times more radiation than any mortal. But most incredible of all, we'd be able to survive without any water for 120 years. So what is this animal with superhuman powers? Meet the water bear. Let's say that things start getting too dry for a water bear. Somehow, it can lose 99% of the water in its body, retract all its legs, and become practically indestructible. That's how it can survive such extremes of cold, heat, radiation, and even in a vacuum like that found in space. And that's why, when it comes to the sleeping beauties of the natural world, the water bear really is. The human body has more than 650 different muscles. They range in size from the massive gluteus maximus to a muscle just 1/10 the size of a flea. It's found in your ear and protects your eardrum from loud noises. And no matter how much you exercise, you'll never get more muscles. The ones you've got will just get bigger. But the only way we could be as big and strong as a bear was if we grew to be 10 feet tall and weighed around 1,200 pounds. And since half of a bear's body weight is pure muscle, it's no wonder bears are so much stronger than us. Imagine if you were a weightlifter at the Olympic Games. To compete for the gold medal, you'd have to be able to lift over 550 pounds. But what if you were as strong as a gorilla? You'd easily set a new world record by lifting 2 family cars. That's over 4,600 pounds. If you could lift like an ant, you'd never need a tow truck. That's because every time you had engine trouble, you could simply pick up the vehicle and carry it to the mechanic. Raising 50 times your weight would be like lifting a truck weighing more than 6,500 pounds. And you'd be able to carry it an incredible 8 miles. Ants are so strong. Some researchers have estimated that a rhino beetle can lift 800 times its own weight. Imagine if we were as strong as this armor-plated insect. That would be like us lifting a tank, all 65 tons of it. No wonder then, when it comes to strength, the rhinoceros beetle really is. It's human blood that nourishes mosquito eggs. So that's why the female has the most complicated biting apparatus in the countdown. It's a combination of Swiss Army knife, hypodermic needle, and vacuum cleaner. But once she's tapped into a blood vessel, our problems have only just begun. For traveling in her saliva are some deadly hitchhikers. The muscles on a human body make up nearly half our body weight. The biggest muscles are attached to our legs and arms. To chew our food, we move our jaw using only about 1% of our muscle mass. But imagine if we were like the naked mole rat. If we spent our lives tunneling with our teeth, our jaw muscles would make up a quarter of our muscle mass. Imagine if we ate like a funnel-webbed spider. A pair of fangs would be great for killing food, but useless for chewing. So we'd have to make ourselves a little liquid lunch. Funnel webs throw up special enzymes that turn their meal into a soup that's simply sucked up. Our teeth are under attack by billions of bacteria that grow in a layer called plaque. When we eat sugary foods, so do the bacteria. They turn the sugars to acids, and acids eat into tooth enamel. But our body can fight back. Our spit is full of minerals that replace the ones dissolved away by plaque acids. Each day you produce about 1 liter of saliva, which means in your lifetime, you make enough saliva to fill a swimming pool. That's 25,000 liters of spit. All 32 adult teeth are firmly anchored in our jaws. Our teeth are meant to last us a lifetime, but then we don't put as much strain on our teeth as a shark. The average human bite strength is only about 21 kilograms per square centimeter. Compare that to a shark. Their jaws are estimated to generate forces 100 times more powerful. We'd go through a few teeth as well if our bite strength topped the scales at 2,800 kilograms per square centimeter. One of the smallest sharks in the world hunts the biggest animals on the planet. Whales, not nuclear submarines, are the normal diet of the cookie-cutter shark. And that's what makes this biter #1 in the countdown. It feeds by sinking those incredible teeth into the side of a whale and then lifting out a cookie-shaped piece of flesh before the whale, or submarine, knows what hit it. No wonder then, when it comes to biting, the cookie-cutter shark The brain of a beagle weighs less than 1/6 of a pound. Compare that to the size of the organ we do our thinking with. The 3 pounds of gray wrinkled jelly we call our brain is made up of 100 billion nerve cells called neurons. And all those neurons firing their electrochemical messages produce enough tiny bursts of electricity to power a light bulb. First of all, the scout bee has to attract the attention of her sisters. When the workers have gathered, she tells them there's food nearby with a little bee boogie. Scientists call this repeated pattern of movements the round dance. But if the food's a long way off, she's able to tell her sisters the exact location by breaking out the waggle dance. The angle of her waggle on the hive's dance floor corresponds to the angle between her food source and the sun. And the number of times she shakes her booty indicates just how far away the food is. All that remains is to show her sisters just what kind of food they're looking for. Hopefully, the waggle dance will not be coming to a nightclub near you. The dolphin actually makes far more noises than we can hear. It fires off ultrasonic clicks and whistles like a submarine using sonar. By listening to the echoes of these ultrasonic sound waves, it can build up a sonar picture of the world around it. The beauty of ultrasound is that when it contacts a fish, some of the ultrasonic waves can pass right through the skin. The beam may then reflect back off the bones or guts, resulting in a number of different echoes. Some scientists believe that these echoes are processed in the dolphin's brain to form a 3D image of the fish. That's why the parrot is #1 in our countdown of extreme smarts. But when it comes to thinking, the parrot really is. Scientists asked a group of men what features they thought women found most attractive on the male body. Most thought a powerful, muscular chest would be a turn-on. Others thought muscular arms would be hot. And many believed that women would focus on their private parts. At the start of a relationship, the brain produces a chemical called phenylethylamine, or PEA. This is a natural amphetamine that stimulates the nervous system like a jolt from a triple espresso. PEA travels down the nerves to produce the symptoms of lovesickness, like butterflies in the stomach and a pounding heart. Sweaty palms and the nervous jitters. No wonder the spider is #1 in our countdown of extreme lovers. For when it comes to loving, the redback spider really